changed by TikTok because you see a product and there is a buy button and you see a good video around it and you just press buy and you get that stuff.
If you don't have color contradiction that is available for those with a visual impairment, you're breaking the law.
Because a lot of clients, like, they just put on an ad and they forget about it, or they just
Mm.
have very different idea of marketing than we do.
He made $100 million in a weekend. He
Yeah.
capitalized on 7 years of goodwill. People are complaining about his
But if
frequency.
somebody comes from corporate, he understands that, okay, if I say this can lead to this, and I need to be very careful, or I need to make my messaging subtle and stuff.
What? Like, it can be true, but it can
Yeah.
be okay. Actually, like, legit.
In 2 years time, what are the new things that we are going to see from the brick and mortar store merge onto the
I just
digital?
currently take all the credit. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, I've got brilliant people on my team that work really hard and help us find the things that I.
Hi Lauren, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So, what I wanted to start the conversation with was that you have been in the industry for so long, like you have seen it all, from the time of when DVDs was still a thing to, now where, we have Netflix, and Netflix is also emerging into some other market. So, how has been your overall journey, and how do you see it changing day by day?
Sure. So, I guess like at the beginning of my career, especially like as it pertains to marketing, there's a time where you could just tell Meta what you wanted to sell and make money, right? You were able to like
Yeah.
treat advertising in a lot of different fashions in a ways like an ATM. Then it's evolved. There's a lot more privacy restrictions. At least in the US, the judicial system has intervened. I mean, Singapore and India both have their own legal restrictions. Nicaragua doesn't allow monetization. That what was a tool that could print you a lot of money early on then became something that politicians, legislators, and more technology came in to make it more complicated and harder to make money, but more available for the masses. So it's been this like swing of the pendulum where it was really easy before. Now it's gotten really hard. And what I anticipate, not just in the meta ecosystem, but like in all advertising, is a shift back to where it's going to be a lot easier, but at the same time, simpler. Like, have you watched the show Mad Men? Are you familiar with
Yep.
that one? Yeah, so I think it's going to go back to like a level of Mad Men marketing where I think we've become so conditioned because of Amazon and Jeff Bezos doing same day delivery and like being able to work remotely. Expectations of the consumer have become so on demand. I mean, we talk about, you just said Netflix versus
Yeah.
DVDs. Netflix, I used to have to wait for the
Yeah.
DVDs to arrive. And I'd be like, okay, great. In 4 days, I'll get the next
Yeah.
disc for Desperate Housewives, right? Now it's all instantaneous. And that has demanded that the consumers have somewhat unrealistic expectations of a lot of brands and especially of small businesses. So I think where like Mark Zuckerberg and like a lot of the big tech companies are going is okay, scratch all that. Let's take the burden of operations off and let's make things simpler because people have said, all right, I'm going to treat you like an ATM. I'm going to say, here's my information, give me money right now. Versus in Don Draper Mad Men days, you would advertise a brand, right? Like Coca-Cola has messages with the polar bear, like they invested in a character.
Yeah.
What Disney has done with the parks. Walt Disney World is just one big commercial,
Yeah.
right? You're paying $150 to be advertised to the entire day. Like from which movies to buy, what merch to purchase, which characters to dress up as Halloween, which subscription, Disney Plus, to subscribe to. Like you're paying $150 for a huge commercial. And then you're also then paying 4 times more money for food so that you can keep watching that same commercial. So, anyways, the future that I believe is going to be a more simplistic, brand driven, almost like billboard style attribution where you're not going to have the same visibility, but you know that you need to do marketing and advertising. Like you can't just market your products, you need to advertise your brand.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, you coming from a person who has been working at Walt Disney for, like, you have worked there a lot. Like, where I was going through your portfolio, like, yeah, you have been a lifelong, with them. So how was that experience? Like, how was, because I think in start it would be fun, like, getting to see all those characters come to life and stuff like that. Or how was it? How was it for you?
So I was on and off with the company for 5 years, and I was really lucky to like have several different positions. And I remember my first time when I was a college program intern. So I was still in college and took a semester off to work at Disney, and I worked in the castle. And I didn't know this until later in life, when a lot of friends had messaged me on Facebook and said, "We always knew you were going to work at Disney." Like, okay, cool. I didn't,
Yeah,
but glad to know that everyone knew my future before me. And I remember like getting off the bus, because the parking lot for Walt Disney World, Magic Kingdom's park specifically, is offsite, which means you have to take a 5-minute bus from where you park and where you get your costumes to where you actually get into Magic Kingdom. So I remember getting off the bus for my very first shift, dressed in my like Cinderella cedar attire, and seeing an older woman who was friends with Pinocchio without
yeah,
the head smoking a cigarette. And I was like, cool, my dream has been shattered. But also, like, you know what? This is fantastic because now I'm a part of something that instills imagination and
yeah,
play in every part of its body, that there is a reprieve for those that are building the magic to be human. And
yeah,
from that moment on, the chance to be part of like amazing projects from like Disney Vacation Club's 25th. How are we re-envisioning different parts of the cruise ship? Like these components of Disney that I got to see or be a part of, from like Miss America's contribution at Walt Disney World, like all of these things, like there's so much that's going on that
yeah,
even as when I was a super fan, could never have understood the tens of thousands of people that make every moment magical for that
yeah.
person who sees Mickey Mouse for the first time. So it was absolutely incredible. There was huge budgets. There's also a lot of restrictions. There were like 43 lawyers on the marketing team. So there's a lot of safety and precautions. And I'm grateful for the time that I had at corporate, because I could see how much potential there is, but also how much caution is
Risk,
required
yeah.
for you to grow to that level.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually correct. That a lot of us, especially who start from marketing, like if I, graduated yesterday and then I started my marketing company, I wouldn't understand that, the thickness of it, the legal
Mhm.
implications of a lot of stuff that we do. And
Yeah.
but if somebody comes from corporate, he understands that, okay, if I say this can lead to this, and I need to be very careful, or I need to make my messaging subtle and stuff like that. So yeah, that actually makes a lot of
Oh,
sense.
yeah. Like we had story IP. I remember there was a project we were doing where there was one line in a PlayStation 2 video game for The Incredibles that made the entire project null and void. So there was
Ooh,
like story protection team where it was like, okay, cool. If you're going to say something, how consistent are you with anything else you've said on this subject matter? Which, if you apply for like small businesses, if you tell someone this is the lowest price you're ever going to have, you better not have had a lower price in the
yeah,
future, because you're going to damage your reputation. Other examples would be like with Walt Disney World. I mean, I can't imagine how many lawsuits that they get on a daily basis, but everyone is trying, and there are sometimes when it's important, right? Like you want the parks to be handicap accessible. You want the parks to have sensory warnings in every environment, because you want everyone to enjoy the parks. But at the same time, you would see like these things that would come in. You're like, okay, you're right. We do need to make sure that the colors are handicap accessible, because people that have color blindness, like
yeah,
in the US, those stoplights have blue behind the green in case they can't see it. If you don't have those things, you're taking away the experience. But if you just graduated yesterday, you'd have no idea that your website colors, if they aren't handicap accessible, like you can't do white on yellow. So if
yeah,
you're a brand new designer, brand new to marketing, if you don't know that there's legal requirements, at least to have anything showing up in the US, so if it's accessible in the US sense, any type of website, if you don't have color contradiction that is available for those with a visual impairment, you're breaking the law. If you don't have a testimonial disclaimer that shows that you provided no monetary value in exchange for that testimonial, and those are their words, you're breaking the law. So those things, you could have graduated yesterday, but you're unaware of all of these ramifications. Other things might be like HIPAA compliance. If you're helping anyone in the medical space, like you cannot share medical data. And unfortunately, the reality is because so many people don't know that, because you can't know everything. It's impossible. But also small
Yeah.
business can't afford an elite team. Like I had 43 marketers or
Yeah.
43 legal full-time people for the marketing team to have access to. But if you don't know these things, you can put yourself up into a terrible position. A lot of marketers were like using testimonies, and the FTC went after them and eviscerated their businesses. Not because they intended to do bad, they just didn't know, right? And
Yep.
so when you don't know, it doesn't mean that you're not legally liable. It's just a lot of those lessons unfortunately come through experience, and for the business owner that can be costly, and for the marketer it's well intended. You're like, hey, yeah, this is good copy. If you're making promises or warranties that you can't back, you could then potentially be putting your client at total risk. And again, it's never, well, I can't say it's never intentional. Some people are bad, but most of the time it's not intentional. The ramifications have been for those that have been playing fair, have been doing the right things, are now being punished because legislators are like, we need to hold big companies like Meta or Google accountable because marketers don't know the law. So make it so that the marketers can't break the law. And then what they end up doing is not allowing any visibility for tracking attribution in the health and wellness space. So I'm like getting on like a deep kind of component,
Yeah.
but I'm like, it's impacting health and wellness brands significantly, and it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. But at the same time, there are some, workarounds. Like I've been messing with meta ads myself for, last 4 or 5 years, and I have figured out that, there is always a loophole that you can, work around, but at the same time, you cannot mess around with it too much and stuff like that. But yeah, the meta has gotten a little more restrictive, especially I have this one account that I do the leads ad for, and I think last month they did a whole change. Yeah, there was an important update there, and it has gotten a lot more restricted than before. So yeah,
Yeah. And it's
it,
hard. I mean, like when there's like loopholes or things that you can do, I will say that anytime you try to circumvent the rules within Meta, it might be short-term success. But that's where I think it's going to go back to the Don Draper days. Like there's just been this like radical reformation because of like loopholes. Like for example, in the tracking wellness space, you can potentially make custom conversions. You can potentially do top of funnel stuff that then you have to look at not direct attribution in Meta, but direct attribution in your bank account. But when people are doing loopholes maliciously or opening up new ad accounts or
yep,
doing all these things, other marketers are paying for it. And then what
yep,
we're seeing now is people are getting like blacklisted. Like you can't
yep,
have like, so you can have your ad account restricted, you can have your Facebook page restricted, you can have your business portfolio restricted, or you can have your personal account. That's the worst. If that gets restricted, like it's game over, because now to create a new account, you have to show your ID. So if you make a second account that was already restriction, you're breaking Facebook's terms and
yep,
conditions.
yeah. It has
It's a
been,
lot.
yeah,
It's a lot. And so for the new
yeah,
marketer, you could never know all these things.
yeah. That's true.
So,
So tell me, like, what has been your best success on the meta accounts for last year, yeah, or this year, yeah.
well, I can say like recently we had a client that came to us and they had been running ads themselves for a while, and they'd spend about $5,000 to $15,000 per online masterclass. They do these once a month. And the last two masterclasses that they ran, so let's say $25,000 in ad spend, yielded $0 in sales.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a huge investment. Now, I will say that when you're running an online webinar or an in person seminar, my hill to die on is that you are investing in getting qualified people into the room. You are not trying to self liquidate, as in make back the money you're spending. You're
Yep.
supposed to lose money on getting people into the room, because in the room is where you're pitching for big ticket. Whether it's a
Yeah.
free webinar, like $47, $297 seminar, it doesn't matter. What you're trying to do is fill the room of qualified buyers that are interested in paying you $10,000 or $30,000 for whatever you're selling in the room. That's your Disney World ticket, right? Like
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom, their first 4 hours of being open or something like that, it's all the cost for parking pays for the labor for the park, right? Like
Nice.
it's
Nice. Nice.
your effort. You wish you could have that parking lot self liquidation, but that took 40, 50 years for Disney
Yep.
to master. So when they were doing it, it's like, okay, cool. You're investing $5,000 to $15,000. It's okay that it was lost, but you need to close on those. So then what we did was we went in, we changed the audiences, we changed the creative, we changed the direction. And in the first one that we launched with them, we turned $6,000 of ad spend into 6 figures plus in sales.
Nice,
And that
nice, nice,
was a
nice.
month
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. Now to think of it, they must be doing a lot of mistakes to get zero and then you coming in and doing six figures because yeah, I can see how terrible ad you can run. That's the way I think of it when because a lot of clients like they just put on an ad and they forget about it, or they just
Mm.
have very different idea of marketing than we do. So it's always refreshing to see those clients, and actually it helps you learn more stuff about the world as well. So but yeah, it's a great win, yeah, to be honest. But at the same time it's also getting very like this space, this masterclass space is also getting very saturated as well, don't you think? Like I've been like more every day, I see two or three more ads of people doing these, and yeah, it has been.
Well, it's two parts, right? It is saturated in the sense that people understand that the first to do the master classes or webinars or video sales landing pages, VSLs,
Yep,
the sooner that did it, it was novel. It's no longer novel. Everyone does it. Like Bob
yep,
Iger, the CEO of Disney, has one, right?
yep,
So it's not novel, but it's then also become so it's saturated in the sense that more people are there. It's a heavier market, redder ocean, but at the same time, people know what to expect and they're seeking it out. Like I want that 1 to 2 hours of information. Like us at Mongoose Media, we're looking at doing our own webinars this Q4 about an email program. So it's like we're still going to be entering the space, but when you say that it is heavy competed, yes, but it's still a function that people like. The other thing I would combat is so again, I can specifically speak to Meta extensively, and a lot of it's true in other platforms. I just have other media buyers in my team that manage the other platforms. Um, so Meta has a thing right now where if you do it right, you can take full advantage. You said that you're seeing a lot more master classes in your feed. That's because you have sent signals to Meta of
yeah,
engagement, clicks, or consumption that you want this type of content. So then what
yeah,
happens? I'm going to give you more of this type of content. So it's what I call like the first right of refusal. You, as the advertiser, if I get in front of me, Lauren Petrullo, first, it is my person to lose as a customer. So again, going back to that Don Draper, like you have to build a lot more into your brand
yeah,
to win me right away. Because as soon as I engage with your stuff and I don't make a purchase, Meta says then, great, all of your competitors now get to come to me,
yeah,
which is like annoying because like I paid for that person to find them to know that they're the right interested party. But at the same time, you can take advantage of it because if my competitor gets interacted with and they don't win that person right away, they have
yeah,
the first right of refusal. I get to now compete for their attention. So
yeah,
it's amazing, annoying, but it's like Meta, there's no cold advertising anymore. People are no longer cold to your offer, they're just cold to you. And
yeah,
they're seeing all your competitors. And the way that you can use this as an individual, my personal example is there's a company in the US called Stitch Fix where they'll send you curated clothes and outfits. So you can pay $20 a month and they'll send you 5 different outfits, shoes, purses, accessories, whatever, style to your preferences. If you don't buy anything, you just paid $20 for the shipping and the styling fee. If you do buy something, that $20 gets applied as credit. So I've used Stitch Fix in the past, used it like 8 years ago, and I stopped it because everything they sent me, I felt like I looked like a 35-year-old mom, and I had no interest in dressing like a
yep,
35-year-old mom.
yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Concept is amazing, just the styling
Yeah,
geared to a different demographic. So when I saw a Stitch Fix ad, I was like, oh, yes, let me take advantage of how Meta does this. So I interacted with the Stitch Fix ad. I gave them all the positive signals. I swiped through 40 carousel. I went to the page. I was like, yes, how do I make sure that Meta knows I'm interested in this product, but not, or I'm interested in this service type and this type of product, but not this brand? So then what happened? Like, I wish I had recorded it with my phone because I had told a friend, I was like, watch, 2 minutes or less, guarantee you, I'm going to see all of Stitch Fix's competitors. And now I don't have to do the research anymore. And within
yeah,
two
yeah,
minutes, I kid you not, my whole Instagram feed was all of their competitors. And I was like, great, I just saved 10 minutes. I don't even have to go to Chat GPT right now. to find competitors to Stitch Fix. Meta gave me the solutions.
Yeah, that's interesting way of seeing it because I never thought of it this way. I
Mm,
know how it works. I know the algorithm, but I never thought of it, utilizing it this way because yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, and it actually, uh, gave me an idea for my own. So I think in that way, like if you like now you have put it that way, I think it's more important for brands to actually work on their image and actually
mhm.
work on their brand story and everything, because obviously you are getting free traffic or not free traffic, just people who are cold to you and not to the business idea,
Yeah.
and now you have to actually convince them that you are better than the other person and other 5% that are selling it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of that's going to come in like when people spend 90 to 100% of their budget going after the bottom 3% that are ready, it's very expensive. But what I have found right now is when you build a full funnel campaign, especially within Meta, or you layer in like things like TikTok for discovery, the way of the Don Draper days, where you'd invest in billboards, you'd invest in TV commercials, you'd invest in brand building. When you're investing in the top of funnel, when you're investing in branding, your performance marketing will do better.
Yep. Yeah, that actually makes sense as well. And yeah, same for the Amazon DSP as well, where you get to advertise to the top of funnel on Amazon or Amazon
Mm-hmm.
Prime and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What we have found out is, the more you do it, the better the bottom of funnel ads perform. So yeah, we have been trying to figure it out, the best fix or best way to utilize everything, because saying top of funnel or middle of funnel or bottom of funnel is easy, but to figure it out and to actually go into that whole thing and trying to figure out the best performance or best throughput is very hard. But that's what I have noticed, especially. and
Yeah. Yeah.
and
No, it's true. I'm glad that you're also seeing it within the Amazon ecosystem. And like, so what are the KPIs that you're using to show that it's driving better performance?
yep. And also the thing is, now the problem is, back in Don Draper days, people knew that if my ad shows up on TV, or if I am placed on the billboard, the whole city knows me. Now the problem is,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is used to Amazon ads or simple Amazon ads, or they are used to Meta ads, and they are like, okay, where are my sales? Because I saw that ad where people were getting sales, like they were spending 5,000 and they are getting $20,000. So I need to have those sales instead of why are you running those ads there and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it becomes a like what I find really hard is a lot of people have like, look what I mean, what I told you, I spent 6 grand, less than 6 grand, I did over 6 figures in sales. I can tell you that, but that would say like, oh, you're like, oh, what are the things that you changed? We changed some things. Yes, we worked on the tracking
Yep.
distribution, but also there's more to the business. Like there's a lot
Yep.
more behind the scenes. If I tell someone right now you can spend $6,000 and do 6 figures in sale, that's probably not true because they've already been doing webinars for a while. So it's
Yep.
like, what are the tweaks we can do to unlock these different pieces? Like their things aren't in isolation. So when I see someone on TikTok like you spent 5,000 Meta and you should be making 20,000, I'm like, hold on, what is the rest of the context? Like they're leaving
Yep.
that information out. And a lot of business owners like will say, and it's hard to manage their expectations, well, I saw this in TikTok, so it must be true. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
what? Like it can be true, but it could
Yeah.
be okay, actually like legit. So I'm reading Alex Hermosi's $100 million money models right now.
Yeah.
I'm doing it publicly with a friend. So we're like going through the book. Granted, I'm on like the disclaimer page still. And I was like, things that I really like that he did was he's like, the success of the author and references herein are exceptional, non-typical results and are not intended to be and are not a guarantee that you'll achieve the same results. Like he puts it in the very beginning of the
Yeah.
book. And I wish people that were doing that with TikTok. I mean, again, it's coming because people make these outrageous claims, they can't back them. Where does that data come from? Show me your results. I've had a case study with Meta. I've worked with them, and the way that they comb through all of the data to make sure that anything that they're publishing is backed is what a lot of small businesses and early marketers don't do because they don't know how important it is, and where they're going to win a lot of quick wins because it's like the silver bullet. Look at me, it's clickbait. I spent $6,000 and 6 figures in sales. If I don't back it up, the
Yep.
long-term value of my brand will go away. The ability for my brand to operate in that ecosystem is going to potentially be completely banned, or I could face a discriminatory lawsuit.
Yep. Yeah. That
So
that
quick win
that's
or long term? I want to build a company like JP Morgan. I don't want to build something that will fade in and out like Meerkat.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. And also, yeah. So what I wanted to say, like I was thinking about it that Alex Ramosi thing because it happened like last month, and a lot of criticism around it. How do you see that? Because he was investing very heavily on the advertising side as well,
Sure.
very
I
heavily.
mean, what was the criticism that you were hearing from his stuff?
So I saw a couple of posts where people were like, he was pushing too much in the advertising and stuff because I think, he did a lot of like he didn't do frequency caps is how I would phrase it. Yeah.
Sure. And people were complaining. Well, they can opt out. You can stop seeing an advertisement from them. So for me, when I hear like my complaints about the Hermosi stuff was that when he asked for the pitch, and this is hard because I know the person that helped coach him on this. When he asked the pitch and said, "Hey, can I pitch the bigger business owners? Are you okay with this?" I had blocked a 2-hour period of my time. I had a motorcycle class that I had to get to, so I was like, "Okay, cool. Here's 2 hours. This is what I'm used to." And I blocked that whole time, and then it was an hour of information, then an hour and a half of a pitch, then the rest of the stuff. So I was maybe I like should check email stuff, but I was expecting a 2-hour component when it was a 2-hour pitch. And I was like, I missed out of stuff. He kept going and he should because he's making more money. So that's not a big deal for me. I was just like, man, I stayed live because you said you have to do something for live. But the value and the benefit of being live didn't happen until after the call that was supposed to happen ended. So because it extended, I thought that I was like, that was annoying. And the other thing I found hard about his challenge personally was that he gave away so much stuff. So like the reason I'm doing like this book club thing with my friend is because I have all of these books from Hermosi, right? I have all of these. Like one is a workbook. So the only one I've actually read is $100 million offers. And that I don't have. I have this as a workbook because I was going to read it. You can't even see it. But
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
I can
to
see it.
say is
Yeah.
they're sitting on my desk as if they're cookbooks in my kitchen, not being opened, not being read. And a lot of his value stacking was asking people to get 8 months worth of reading material when I haven't even read last year's book. So
Yeah.
that was my only piece. I was like, you're giving so much value, but people aren't going to take action. But good for him for making the money. Apart from that, I think he had an incredible launch. I think everyone should look at what he had done. Jason Flalian, the guy behind like webinars and stuff, it's like so classic what his stuff does. Like he's a great book on it. So if you're interested in doing webinars, you can see that like his model's like you don't get off until you've made every last dollar. He made $100 million in a weekend. He
Yeah.
capitalized on 7 years of goodwill. People are complaining about his frequency. They're either just not interested in avoiding it, or two, they're not paying attention to marketing that works. People are like, why do you do frequency cap? His frequency cap wasn't a problem because the amount of creative he had demolished that as a purpose. He's doing 400 pieces of unique content a week. A week.
Yeah.
Michael M is director of his media, is producing content like no one else can. So frequency cap, who cares when it's a diversity of ads? Remember I said earlier, it's the first right to refuse. If you don't like
Yeah. Yeah.
Stitch Fix right away, you know what I'm seeing from Stitch Fix? The same ad. They're not giving me different creatives. They're not diversifying the different approaches to me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
because of that, I would never buy from Stitch Fix. And the best way to advertise right now is having personalized relevance and ads that matter to me. And the diversity of the ads allows you to penetrate into different markets. So I'm just like, oh, Alex Hermosi, bravo. The best thing that he did was he capitalized on
Yeah.
7 years of goodwill into a weekend of $100 million in sales.
Yeah.
He spent $4 million in ads, but what a return. Well, the other thing is, if you look at it, $4 million in ads, all the labor, all the stuff, I'm sure his actual investment was over $25 million, but he only paid $4 million in ads.
Yep.
So if someone says, I did 4 million ads and I did 100 million sales, I'm like, oh, wait a second. I bet you invested $25
Yeah.
million for all the other pieces that go into it to make $100 million.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And I think it was more than $100 million that he did. I think I was hearing a figure of 300 or 200. Yeah, but yeah, I
Oh,
don't know.
really?
Yeah, I don't remember. Like I was very disconnected with all of this hype and stuff like that. And there was this post from a friend who was actually, criticizing the critics that, you guys say this about Hormozy, but he has been doing this and this. And I was like, oh, and then read that there was a Guinness's Book of World Records. He did something
Yeah.
that, so yeah, I got to know after the fact and through a post. And then I was like, oh yeah, I was seeing a lot of ads about him. So he was doing a lot of
Oh
ads.
yeah,
So
I saw
maybe
something.
that was,
He did 3.6 million copies in 3 days. So if it's each book is $30, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna use a calculator because I don't want to play that game. But oh gosh. Okay, so three
yeah, 3 to 6, I guess.
times times 30. We'll say 29.99. So 107,964,000.
Nice,
Because I thought
not
it was
bad.
105. But so yeah, 107. Regardless, he did over 100 million.
Yeah,
That's ridiculously impressive. Like, and
yeah,
it's amazing that he did the Guinness World Books. I know Michael M, who was a director of media, used to work for Mr. Beast Jimmy, and like again, like those world records things. That's for me the Coca-Cola bear.
yeah,
You don't have to invest in a bear to use in your ads. It has nothing to do. Polar bears don't drink Coca-Cola.
yeah.
You're creating this fictitious character, this flow from progressive. You're investing in your brand,
Now,
right?
what I'm afraid of is all those, tier three, tier four ones are gonna start the same thing and try to sell copies, and that is going to annoy me. So that's obviously,
Then you have to just control your you have to control your ads, and you're allowed to go
yeah,
into your ad profile and say what you don't want to see. You
yeah,
can
yeah,
absolutely control what ads you see if you don't like. You can't control whether or not you see ads. You could in Europe temporarily if you paid for
yeah,
your Meta subscription, but your Meta is a free tool to use. If you don't want to see the ads, you can't use the tool, but you can
yeah.
control what type of ads if you don't like it. Interact with the ones you like to see because Meta wants you to see relevant stuff. You being like annoyed,
I do
anyone that's
like
being annoyed by the
I
ad,
come from the like I'm from those type of people who don't want to see ads. And what happened with me was I recently moved to Europe, and before that my Meta subscription was very cheap, and now they didn't take the payment. So what they did with me was like it was very low payment. Like I was doing, I think it was like $5 or something. And then
yeah.
I moved here, and then for 1 month they didn't charge me, and I was like, what's happening there? And they were saying there's some error that they cannot charge me. I was like, okay, what can I do? Because it wasn't opening up, so I didn't think anything of it. And after a month they were like, okay, it has expired, so now you have to pay again. And I clicked on the payment, and it had moved to like 35 or 30 euros. And I was like, no. No.
Well, there's different levels because in Europe you can have an ad-free version, or at least that was the case for a while because of a law that went into place. But you can have, or at least you could have an ad-free version. In the US, I pay $14 a month for Instagram, or it's like 25 for both.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I know we don't want the ads, but we're not paying. If you were paying a subscription model, the thing is like Prime, again, Jeff Bezos, he keeps trying to disrupt consumer behaviors because now we're paying for Prime and we're still seeing ads. I'm like, why? Why am I seeing ads? But he's like, yeah, well, you used to pay for cable and you still had ads. So I understand why they're doing the model. But the best I can say is like, we live in a world where everyone wants to monetize and
Yeah.
ads is the best way to do it. And if you don't like the ads you're seeing, you need to interact with the stuff you do like. So you train
Yep.
your algorithm to see good stuff. That's where like TikTok is one of the strongest algorithms that has helped with virality of things because when you interact with something, they're showing you
Yeah, that
diversity,
was
whereas
so
Meta
good.
right now is the
Like I
same.
remember during COVID days, jumping on to TikTok, and it was so good. Like even in 3 videos, they would tell you like what you like, and then you
Yeah.
start seeing that stuff. So yeah, I used to help my friends, get more car videos and stuff by just going to a page and liking 3 or 4 car videos, and now
Yeah.
they see is cars. And it was so, yeah, it was really nice. Uh, but I think the way shopping works has all. all also being changed by TikTok, because you see a product and there is a buy button and you see a good video around it and you just press buy and you get that stuff. So this has also been changed by it. And it's funny that it's interesting that Facebook has been doing the marketplace for so long time, and there is Facebook marketing or Facebook shopping as well, but the way TikTok did it is just amazing.
Well, they went creator based.
Yeah,
Meta went product based. People don't buy products; they buy from creative. And the same things, like, I wouldn't say behavior change, because when you go to the mall, anytime you go to the mall, you're not going with the intention of buying only one thing. It's like the Target effect. You go in the US, like, a lot of husbands will make TikToks and reels being like, my wife went to Target to pick up a thing of milk. She came home with
yeah,
3 cars worth of stuff.
yeah,
Because the creative or whatever, the display, the merchandising invited you to buy. They're just doing it now digitally on TikTok. So I
yeah,
think behaviors stay the same. It's just they found a way to bring from the brick and mortar online, because in a brick and mortar, you can have everything displayed in a really nice fashion where you're like, oh, I like how that whole outfit looks. I'm just going to buy everything. Now
yeah.
you just have it digitally where you see a person that's like, I like how that outfit looks on them. I'm just going to buy everything. So I don't think consumer behavior changed. I think the application of distributing the media caught up with where the consumer is present online versus physically in the mall.
Interesting, interesting. And on the same note, where do you think this is gonna go? Like in 2 years' time, what are the new things that we are gonna see from the brick and mortar store merge onto the digital side?
Sure. I think the biggest is like experiential. Like the Nutella store in Chicago is like one of the best examples. M&M stores, again, they're branding plays that are still bringing money. If I'm going to buy from your store, I need to enjoy the store. I need the Blockbuster effect. So Blockbuster was a DVD rental store or VHS rental store. You'd go in and you'd be friends with the people that work there. They knew your interests. You had your own personal algorithm, and it was a social thing. I think that brick and mortars, because we work so remote, we're so online, if you don't have personal relationship building, you're going to fail. The only other way that you can succeed is if you do online shopping, live shopping, and then your store, like, you can be selling all hours of the day online, and then you have a physical retail, you can bring the merchandising that like a small online shop or an Amazon only shop can't do. So it's experiential, whether it's digitally through live shopping that we know is huge in Asia. It just hasn't hit the US market yet, but there's no way it's not coming. We are 5 years behind every Asian trend. You look at Baidu, which is TikTok, the it's like a 1-to-1 ratio of what was viral there, and it became viral for us in the same order. So we're 3 years away max from online shopping. Like, we have QVC. QVC is where you see an info commercial and it's live and people dial in. We just don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
it
yeah.
through the. So for me, brick and mortars, you have to be experiential. So you have to have people want to come into your store. Do they want to touch the product, see the product, build relationships with the person? Or are you doing it in a way where you can do something that others can't? So there's no way you cannot be successful. And then the last thing I would just say, and like at the end of the day, whether it's brick and mortar, online, in person sales, doesn't matter. If you are not personalized and if you are not relevant, you will lose in a race to the bottom because someone's going to buy something cheaper. You have to be personalized and relevant in your store. Jimmy Choo is a high end designer store for shoes in the United States. If you buy from them once, they send you birthday cards every year. You have a personal text relationship with the person that bought you bought your shoes with. They're developing personalized and relevant relationships. And if you don't do that, you're just commoditized in a race to the bottom, where especially Gen Z and then soon to be Gen Alpha are going to buy whatever's cheapest because you haven't done the Don Draper effect of building your own Coca-Cola bears.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because yeah, that makes a lot of sense because either I will buy the cheapest thing, or I can pay a higher price for somebody who cares about me or somebody who shows that they care about me. So that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
Good.
Yeah, I learned from you. Yeah. So
Yes.
so yeah, so tell me like how has like what's new for you, like what are you seeing towards, obviously you are running such a great agency and
Mhm.
such a big thing, but at the same time what are you looking towards, like where do you want to transition to, or do you want to expand this, or how do you want to do it? Yeah,
Sure.
in next 5 years
Um,
or next two
next
years
five
Yep.
years, Well, in the next 5 years, so I own a performance marketing agency with a creative studio. And in the next 5 years, the performance marketing side, these ad tech platforms are trying to take away the media buying role. So my next 5 years, the pivoting is how do we make sure that everything after the click, how do we make sure everything in the offer is set up for success? Because a lot of the things that we do now won't exist in 5 years as a job, right? Like I see the horizon. I think there's a lot of agencies that like people aren't going to pay for something because it doesn't. Why would I pay for you to run my ads when Meta? I just have to insert my creative and my copy and my offer, and it's done. And they're going to
Yep.
create the ads for me. So what's on the horizon for us is just making sure that we, in our performance marketing, we focus on data flow because that algorithmic aside, if you don't have proper data flow, you're not going to have a strong algorithm in your back corner. And then the doubling down on the experiential side. So me personally, we're relaunching laurenpetrullo.com, creating branding, and then having a separation of church and state almost, where it's like if someone wants to work with me direct, I can do VIP days, I can do online training, I have my own mastermind. Like if you want to work with me specifically, there's that option. Or if you want to work with my team, I support my team, I lead the team, I lead the strategy, but my team is actually the one that's doing all the good work. I just currently take all the credit. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like I've got brilliant people on my team that work really hard and help us find the things that I'm able to share publicly as my role, as the role
Yeah.
responsible for revenue, reputation, and recruitment. So in that, what I'm looking forward to is having a bit more of a separation so that my team can grow and continue to build more agency. I want 2 physical locations. So we're trying to figure out now, are we going to have an office in Scottsdale or in Orlando? So in the next 5 years, like I want to bring back again, going like 30, 40 years ago, all the agencies had a physical location. Now
Yeah.
more agencies are remote. I'm trying to do
Yeah.
the opposite. I want people in there. I want clients to come to the office. I want to build that personal relationship the way I think that brick and mortars need to do it. And then I also want to do it in the greater accessibility so that if someone wants to hire me specific, they can, and I can have that in its own laurenpetrullo.com. Because me personally, what I want to do is I'm launching a book this year called Y'all Blow Money. I'm doing more speaking engagements. I'm speaking every month. And that's the kind of stuff I like to do more of the business development while my team can continue to do. I need to get out of their way is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. Makes a lot of
No.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We have hit the 40-minute mark. So, this is, I have to wrap it up. But really, I learned a lot from you as well, and also about, where this is gonna go, this whole thing. And do you have any closing remarks? Yeah.
My closing remarks is whether you're new or old to advertising, at the end of the day, the foundational stuff will always win out. If you're looking for like silver bullets or quick gimmicky stuff, that is going to be like a short fuse of a sparkler. If you want something that's going to be a really big bang, I'm not saying Alex Hormozi is the end all be all, but he simplifies stuff at a blanket level where most of the time there's money available for a business to make in the foundational things. If you want to build wealth foundationally, you need to set that up for success. If you want to get rich quickly, you can do the cheap tricks, but richness can come and go in as
Yeah.
quickly as a lawsuit. So whether you're new or experienced, remember foundational pieces are going to win the most long-term value for your
Yeah.
clients or
Yeah.
customers.
That makes sense. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome
Okay.
so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Yeah.